at home or community or family or temple, wherever possible. So I was thinking what to do today evening. Of course, we had the yagya, we had the abhishek in the temple in Alachua. So I came here and really wonderful celebrations. I shared some pictures with all of you. So I hope you please got to be virtually present. So, and if not, then the recordings are also available at the ISKCON Alachua YouTube channel. So I was thinking what to do in this evening time. And I believe and hope that everyone must have chanted the 108 names also of Lord Narasimha. So it's been a while that we have kind of done Srila Prabhupada class for some time. So I was thinking we can utilize this time, the next 30, 40, 50 minutes, to read or hear one of the Prabhupada's classes on Lord Narasimha appearance, which is today. So we'll directly hear from our wonderful Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Does that sounds like a good plan on this Narsimha Chaturdashi day?
Yes, Prabhuji. Sure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Prabhu. So what we'll do, it's a transcript is there of the lecture. So we'll take turns and read, and if there are any thoughts, comments, reflections, we can discuss. So I'm going to share the screen now of Prabhupada's class on this day of Narsimha Chaturdashi. So I'll begin. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, 22 to 34. So this class was given in Los Angeles on May 27, 1972. Prabhupada begins to speak. So today, the appearance day of Lord Narasimha, Lord Narasimha appeared on this Narsimha Chaturdashi on the account of his devotee Prahlad. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam sambhavami yuge. Dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. 4.8. So these two verses are together. The Lord appears with two purposes, paritranaya sadhunam, just to give protection and rescue the devotees and to kill the demons. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. So Prahlad Maharaj, 5-year-old boy, his only fault was that he was Kṛṣṇa conscious. He was a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. That was his only fault. And the father was so unkind to a child, even 5 years old, he could not excuse, oh, let this boy do whatever, chanting Hare Krishna. No, the demons are so much against God consciousness that even at his home he would not allow his own child to become God conscious. This demoniac civilization, um, so you'll find many critics, enemies, because you are making progress in Krishna consciousness. So the demons are always against the Krishna consciousness movement. That is a whole history, just like Lord Jesus Christ. He was crucified. What was his fault? He was preaching God consciousness, that's all. The society is so cruel. So Prahlad Maharaj was tortured in so many ways. The torturing methods, I think you will find as you will see in today's picture, how Prahlad Maharaj was tortured. So one day Hiranyakashipu, after all, he was his son, affection was there. So one day Hiranyakashipu asked, Prarad anucyatam tata swadhitam kinchiduttamam kalina eteva vat ayushmana yad asikshad gurur bhavan. Bhagavatam 7.5.22. So he asked his son, my dear son, what have you learned? The best thing that you have learned from your teacher. So you kindly let me know. So Prahlad Maharaj informed, I have learned this thing. What is that? So I'll pause here so everyone can read maybe a paragraph or two. Prabhupada is making a very important point that some people are critical of the Krishna consciousness people. Even their own family members. Hey, why do you chant? Why do you go to temple? Why do you do this? They may smoke a cigarette and then the parents will not say anything. They may do other nonsensical things, the parents may not say, the society may not say, rather those have become a norm. But when someone takes the process of bhakti, 10 people will question, 100 people will question, hey, why are you doing this? Why don't you follow the general masses which are going to hell? So opposition will always be there. Prabhupada is mentioning that. And opposition basically is a resistance which helps us to grow further. So when Hiranyakashipu asks, what have you learned? The best thing, tell me the Uttamam. Let's see what Prahlad Maharaj responds. Would someone like to read from here?
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees. Dhanavad Pranam. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Sharanam Padasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasyam Shakham Atma Nivedanam Iti Pushpaspita Vishnu Bhaktischeno Navo Lakshana Kriyate Bhagavati Adha Tanmane Paditam Uttamam Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7.5, 23, 24. Tan manaye atitam uttamam. One who is engaged in the matter of hearing about Vishnu, Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu. You are engaged in hearing and talking and chanting about so many things, non-Vishnu. Just like you will find thousands of millions of different types of magazines sold in your country, in all countries. Some of the magazines are sex literature, some cinema literature, some this literature, that. So many different types. There is one paper I have seen, diabetes literature. There are many patients of diabetes. So they have formed a society, diabetic society. I have seen it, laughter. And there are many diabetic patients. They are being hoaxed that you pay $2 per year and you get all information how to protect yourself from diabetes disease. So in America, $2 is nothing, but it is collecting millions and millions of dollars. Diabetic Society, Diabetic Magazine. So that sort of hearing and chanting is not needed. We are not interested in all these magazines because we are followers of Prahlad Maharaj. He is our Acharya. He is Guru. Prahlad Maharaj's Guru is Narada, and Narada is also our Guru. Narada is Guru of Vashdev. So we are a branch, but the original Guru is Narad, Brahma Sampradaya. So Prahlad Maharaj is also a disciple of Narad Muni. So teaches that Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. 7.523. So Prabhuji, in this paragraph, we see that like as you are doing now, Sravanam Kirtanam, in reading Prabhupada's lecture about the Lord's glory and devotees' glory. So it's one type of Sravanam and Kirtanam both together. So we see that lot of literatures in this current world, they may need on little bit here, there's definitely, but most we need to lead to Savan and Kirtanam through the through literature as well. So that way, not only diabetes, we can purify so many diseases, our mind, body, and everything. So if we follow our Guru Parampara, as we said here, now the Brahma Sampradaya, then we'll purify our not only some disease or some body part, even our mind, family, and the whole world and whole universe. Back to Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. One time someone asked Prabhupada, hey, why are you printing so many magazines referring to back to Godhead? Why are you printing this every fortnight, every month? And Prabhupada respond, there are tons of newspapers every day, tons of magazines every day or every week, or a periodical journals and articles and whatnot. And material world is only 25% of the spiritual world. Sorry, of the whole creation. Spiritual world is the majority. It's like a jail. If the jail has so much news, how much news would be there in the real world? Right? So we say news in this world, but nothing is new. So many people died with accident. So many people died with some disease. This robbery happened here. This gun shooting happened here. This is what is in the newspaper. Very, very dry. It's not new. It's very old and stale. But in bhakti is navyavanamcha, ever fresh. And there is, Prabhupada said, if every moment we write books, still we can't write about Krishna fully. Anantashesh from time immemorial has been reciting the name, form, qualities, glories of the Supreme Lord with thousands and thousands of episodes. Still he can't come to an end. So the point is Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. As Prahlad Maharaj said, it's the best thing. His father asked him, tell me the best you have learned. He said, this is the best I have learned. Let's see further what happens. Okay, Lakshay, Prabhu, want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam. To be believed is in service of the Lord. Dasyam Sakhyam, to make friendship with him, to consider Krishna as your friend. He says, even if I do not say that he's my friend, he says, I am friend to everyone. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam, Bhagavad Gita 5.29. He's friend of everyone. We don't want his friendship, but he wants our friendship. He wants us to go back to home, Godhead. That's a fact. We don't want, so he is more anxious to take us, exactly like the father is more affectionate than the son. That's a fact. So he's the Supreme Father, so he wants that we may be happy. And therefore he comes to show us. He sends his representative son. He leaves behind him books so that we may go back home, back to God. So Sakyam, he's always sitting with me, within my heart. I am in the heart, and Paramatma is also within the heart as friend. As friend to give me advice that why you are bothering in this material world. Please come back to home, back to me. This is going on. Sakhyam Atma Nivedanam Atma Nivedanam means fully surrendered. So there are examples of devotees who Sarvatma Nivedam, just like Bali Maharaj, he gave everything to Krishna, even his body, everything, whatever his kingdom, money, everything.
Thank you so much, Lakshay Prabhu. Very, very interesting point here, which Prabhupada is mentioning. Krishna is not in our need, yet he is still running behind us. And we are in his need, but we don't realize that and we don't run behind him. Like the typical example is a little child, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and the parents. The child thinks, I don't need parents, right? And the child is not running behind the parents for food, give me this, give me that. But the parents don't need the child in the sense, the parents don't need the child to feed him food or feed them food or to get the income. The child is completely dependent on the parents, whether he realizes or does not. Right? Do you see this analogy? The child is running kind of away from the parents. He doesn't feel that he needs them, but we know that the child needs parents. The parents don't need the child to feed him food, yet the parents are running after the child because they are his well-wishers. This is Kṛṣṇa actually, the true father. Kṛṣṇa does not need us, yet as a loving father, he is running behind us. And how is he running behind us? By sending spiritual master, by sending shastras, by sending Mahaprasadam, by sending holy name, by sending Srila Prabhupada, by sending the holy dham, by sending so many ways, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. He's running behind us, devotees. And I, as a ignorant, rebellious child, don't feel that I need Krishna. But a sane person would know that what is the truth. It's a very, very interesting example here. So the moment we realize that, and then we'll take full shelter of him, that I need Krishna much more than he needs me. So I should be eager to receive what he is giving, or what Guru is giving, or what the Shastras are giving, which are basically his expansions. It's a very nice. Okay. And of course, Bali Maharaj, we are reading in the Bhagavatam as well. Okay, let's read the next paragraph. Yes, I think Vinayak wanted to read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So Nivedan means fully surrendered. Oh, sorry. So Prahlad Maharaj says it is Kumashprita Vishanu Bhaktis Chenava Lakshana. All these items mean hearing. Hearing about Vishnu, chanting about Krishna, giving everything to Vishnu, offering prayers to Vishnu, offering archana, temple worship, Vishnu. In this way, Prahlad Maharaj summarizes that anyone who is doing like this, everything about Vishnu, it Pumsharpita Vishnu Bhaktis Chenava Lakshana. These 9 kinds of different devotional services. Kriyeta Bhagavati Ada directly to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tanmana Ditam Uttamam. I think he is the best learned man in the Supreme World. He is most learned. Tan Mane Ditam. He studied everything very nicely. Actually, this is the fact. Nana, knowledge, means to know Krishna, God. And the Vedic injunction is Yasmin Vijnata Starvam Evam Vinjatham Bhajanti If you understand the Supreme Lord, then you understand everything. You haven't got to study different subject matter. Just like we sometimes talk of science, of astronomy, economics, and politics. We talk sometimes, but we are not going on, or we study all the subject matter separately. But of course, our study Krishna consciousness. We know something of everything. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Tan mane adityam uttamam, one who is engaged in these kinds of devotional service directly. So Prahlad Maharaj recommends Krite Bhagavate Ada Tan Mane Ditam Uttamam. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna, thank you so much. So very, very important point that iti pumsarpita Vishnu's bhaktis. These now lakshana are, or the 9 limbs of bhakti are for not Indra, Chandra, Varuna, or XYZ, demigod, etc. These are for worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada mentions one more point. Yasmin vigyate sarvam eva vigyate bhavanti. Vigyan, or means knowledge. One who understands, practical knowledge. One who understands this, understands everything. That means watering the root, which we have discussed again and again. If we water the root, then no need to separately water every twig, branch, fruit, flower, etc. It's impractical, impossible, infeasible, and not very intelligent path. So all these limbs are for direct devotional service. That's the word here. Direct devotional service. Kriyate Bhagavati Adha. So this is the best thing which Prahlad Maharaj. Now who gave this knowledge to Prahlad Maharaj? Anyone? Who gave this knowledge to Prahlad?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni. Yes. In the womb of his mother, Prahlad got this knowledge. Now we have to keep in mind that Prahlad got knowledge from Chand and Amarka also in the Gurukul. Right? They also taught him something about politics, how to rule the kingdom and stuff. But that he did not consider the best. Now, his father had asked him, tell me what's the best you learned. And what he'd learned, like maybe way back, because after the birth, there is no discussion of him meeting Narad Muni. The only time we talk about him meeting Narad Muni was in his womb. So after the birth years, whatever 5, 6, 7 years, whatever this past time was happening, he must have learned something, a lot of things from his school teachers, friends, etc. But that he did not consider real knowledge. He considered that what his real guru told him, that is Narad Muni, and this is what Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. So ultimately, we may get some degrees in engineering, doctor, whatever, lawyer, but that is not the real stuff that may help us to get some money and to sustain the livelihood and stuff. But the real substance is this Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Okay, let's see the next. Someone wants to read the next verse. Yes, Moksha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, all devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam. Nisyamya tat sutta vacho hiranyakashipu sada guru putram chedam rusha praspiru tedadhara. As soon as he heard, oh, what is this nonsense boy is speaking? He became so angry that Hari tat haraha. When one becomes angry, his lips I mean to say jumps. What is called quiver, yes. So he became so angry that he said, Sweet tat dharaha. He immediately called his teacher. He is king, because he thought the rascal's teacher, they have taught him like this. I have entrusted the boy to the teachers, to the brahmanas, and they have taught this Krishna consciousness. So call him. Otherwise, how it is that this small boy, 5 years old only, he is talking about that great saint. So call this teacher. Brahma bandhano kim etat te vipaksham sarvatya ashram grahito balo mam andadritya durmate. Hiranyakashipu became bitterest enemy of Vishnu because his brother Hiranyaksha was killed by Vishnu taking the shape of a Varaha. You know that story. Since then, Hiranyakashipu was bitterest enemy. Oh, Vishnu has killed my brother, so he is my greatest enemy. So he won't hear anything about Vishnu. Any Vishnu devotee, he would punish him, even his own son. That was the policy. So he immediately called him, the teachers, and addressed him. Prabhuji, should I continue?
Let's see if someone else wants to read. Thank you, Mataji.
So here, Hiranyakashipu was unable to understand that how come my small boy is talking so much big things about Sri Vishnu, and how it is possible, means like he didn't know the fact that the devotees are uh, always protected by the blessings of great saints, and so Prahlad Maharaj had this knowledge since the very beginning. It was just that it started appearing before his father that day. So one more also, I had read a quote which was very nice. That was that Prahlad Maharaj was put into difficulties many times. It was not that when Hiranyakashipu took out his sword, it was the first time that Prahlad Maharaj was put into the difficult situation. But in every situation, there was Hari Nam that came to save Prahlad Maharaj. Narsimha Dev came only once. That too, when Prahlad Maharaj emphasized on the fact that yes, Vishnu is everywhere and even in this pillar. So to prove the fact, because now Narsimha Dev or now Sri Vishnu had to protect the faith of his devotee by giving darshan to Hiranyakashipu. So that is why he appeared. Otherwise, Harinam has saved Prahlad Maharaj more times than um, the real bodily incarnation of Sri Vishnu. In that sense, that was being emphasized on doing our chanting attentively. So I shared this because I liked it. Hare Krishna, all devotees, Dhanvat Pranam.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that wonderful glories of the holy name. Holy name is more powerful than the Lord Himself. Thank you. Okay, let's read next part. Yes, anyone wants to read? Nandini Mataji, you want to read?
Pranam devotees. Brahma Bandho is right. That's where we are, Prabhu. Sorry.
Yes, Mataji. Here, this one. There are two Brahma Bandhas.
Brahma Bandho kim etatte vipaksham shraya tasata asaram grahito balo mam anadritya durmate. So here, teachers are generally Brahmanas. Not generally. To become teacher is the business of the Brahmanas. Brahmanas means that they have got 6 kinds of. Everyone must have livelihood. This material world is that you must work, otherwise you cannot get your livelihood. That is the law, whatever you may be. So the Brahmanas means of livelihood, 6 things. Pathana, Pathana, Yagya, Yajana, Dana, Pratigraha. Pathana means he must be a very learned scholar, study the Vedic literature. and must teach others also. That is Brahmana's business. And in that way, whatever the disciples bring, that is his income. No salary, no contract. That if you pay me $100 or $500 weekly, then I can teach you. No, there's no such contract. Teaching is free. It is the business of a Brahmana to give a free education to everyone. Now, it is just like in our institution, I'm your teacher, but there is no such contract that you have to pay me. But you pay me more than anything. Hare Krishna Prabhupada, thank you.
You can complete this one, Mataji, if it's not okay.
You want me to read this?
Sure.
So, Pathana Pathana, that is the means of livelihood of Brahmana. And Kshatriya, they are kings. They can levy taxes on the citizens because they are heard by others. That is the real root meaning, Kshatriya. And the Vaishya means they should. Krishi, Goraksha, Manijam. They should engage themselves in producing foodstuffs, food grains. Krishi, protect cows, especially Goraksha. As the king is meant for giving protection to the man, similarly, a Vaishya is supposed to give protection to the cows. Or they keep cows and produce milk products. They are Vaishya. And Shudra king, the king has to see that everyone is employed, not that hundreds of people are unemployed. And government has to give welfare subsidy. Not like that. The king's duty is that everyone is independently earning his livelihood. That is king's duty. Thank you, Prabhu Dandat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Here Srila Prabhupada is sharing. Basically, Hiranyakashipu is telling that you are not doing the duties of a Brahmana. Therefore, he is addressing them as Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu means the friend of a Brahmana, not the real Brahmana. You're not a real Brahmana. You're not teaching him the right stuff. The right stuff, according to Hiranyakashipu, means the wrong stuff. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Sam Jagrati Sanyami. What is night for the materialist is day for the self-realized, and what is day for self-realized is night for a demoniac. Pretty simple. So what is Gyan for Hiranyakashipu is actually a Gyan or ignorance for a devotee, like Prahlad. Therefore, he did not consider that as worthy knowledge. But Hiranyakashipu wanted Prahlad to be taught all the nonsense, which is how to rule over the kingdom, how to be political, diplomatic, and anything but Krishna consciousness. Therefore, these teachers were not doing their job of teaching him the right stuff as per Hiranyakashipu, which is ignorance as per Prahlad. And then Prabhupada talks about Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya. So Brahmana teaching is, and this is very kind of practical today. One of the biggest industry these days is teaching industry. There are so many schools, colleges, and education and health is the kind of the core, because these two are the main things which will always be there, and these two things are now kind of very, very commercial. We see that now for the health, with the hospitals. Even if it's a small thing, they will do 100 tests. They will admit the patient for 5 days and may give a 5 lakh rupee bill or a $5,000 bill, and then they, for a thing which was worth maybe 500 rupees or $50. Same with education. To get admission in the school, my bhabhi is a teacher. She was telling people have to pay 3-4 lakh rupees for a 5-year-old child to get admission into the school. So what to speak of the extraordinary fees and tuitions, and everything is contract. Everything is a contract base. But Prabhupada is saying the real Brahmanical work is not contract. The Guru, the Brahmana may accept some donation, but it's not that, oh, you give me more donation, I'll teach you the good stuff. You give me less donation, I'll not teach you. So teaching is free. Health is free. This is Vedic culture. But we should try to revive as much as possible. And then talking about Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also. Okay, let's keep moving. Yes, Kashish Mataji, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam to all devotees. So here, the teachers are addressed here. Prabhuji, we have to read from here, right?
Correct.
Ji. So here, the teachers are addressed here, Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu means a person who is born by a Brahmana father, but he is not acting as Brahmana. He is called Brahma Bandhu, Dvija Bandhu, one who is actually born of a Brahmana father, but he's not acting as Brahmana. So Hiranyakashipu addressed the teachers Brahma Bandhu, not Brahmana, because you are untrustworthy. I entrusted you with my son to be taught, and you have taught him this Krishna consciousness. So against my will, he says practically, Brahma Bandhu kim etat te vipakshatam shrayatastata. I entrusted my child for being educated by you, and you have instigated him to speak in favor of my enemy, Vishnu. Vishnu is my enemy. How is that? Asharam rahito balo mam anandritya durmate. This rascal boy, he does not care for me, and he learned this Krishna consciousness, and you have taught him. How is that? Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So here Hiranyakashipu is getting angry on the Brahmin teachers of Prahlad Maharaj, and he even called him Brahma Bandhu. That means they are born as a Brahmin from a Brahmin father, but they are not performing their duties as a Brahmin. And he is also cursing Prahlad Maharaj for coming to Krishna consciousness. So this shows his anger towards Lord Vishnu and anger towards the Brahmin teachers of Prahlad Maharaj. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, I think we discussed this point of Brahma Bandhu. So just think about, most of you have children, so when you ask your child, hey, please tell me what you've learned the best thing in the school today, or when the child says, well, I learned about Krishna consciousness, I won't be surprised what's going on in the school. Something is not right there. Especially for, well, of course, all of your Vaishnava parents, especially for someone who is not in a Vaishnava background. So that must be the reaction of Hiranyakashipu. Multiply that with 10 million times. Because his enemy was Vishnu, because of the past vengeance of his brother Varahadev killing Hiranyaksha. So let's see this next piece. Ekant Prabhu, you want to read? Okay, Prabir Prabhu, you want to read? Okay. Anurag Prabhu, you want to read?
You call my name?
Okay, you can read, Prabhuji. I was checking with the
I don't
Bhagvata.
know yet. Okay, sure, I can read
Sure, please. Anyone?
it. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hare Krishna devotees. Santihi asada loke tulmatra chadmat vasina tesam udeti agam kala roga patakinam iva. So I think these demigods who are followers of Vishnu, they're coming in disguise and poisoning my son by teaching Krishna consciousness. And you did not take care of him. So what is this? Then the teachers replied, Na mat pranitam na para pranitam. Suto vedati esha tvendra satro. Naisa grikyam matir asya rajan. Niyacha manyum kad adhasma manaha. They said, My dear king, don't think we have taught him like this. It is not. I know it is not our duty to teach him against your will. But his Krishna consciousness is not due to our teaching. Neither somebody is coming in disguise and teaching him. Namat pranitam napara pranitam is neither taught by us nor by anyone else. Suto vadati asha tvendra satro. Indra satro, the enemy, the Hiranyakashipu, is the enemy of the demigods. Therefore, he is addressed as Indra satro. As he addressed the Brahmana, Brahma Bandho, so they retaliated also that you are enemy of the demigods, Naisirakagyam. By nature, he is doing that. We try to forbid him. We try to stop him chanting Hare Krishna, but still he is doing. Matarasya Rajan Neyacha Manyum Kad Adasma Ma. You don't be angry upon us. We never did it. So he is by his own nature, he chants, he preaches, is doing all this. Should I continue?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Okay. Gurunaivam Pratiprokto Bhuya Ashura Sutam Na Ched Guru Mukhyam Te Kuto Pudrasti Mati. Then he again asked his son, Now I understand that your teacher has not taught you all these things. You rascal, where have you learnt all this Krishna consciousness? Laughter. Abhadra kuto abhadrasti mata. Where from you get this rascal wisdom? Tell me. So this is a position, you see. Even father becomes enemy. Now Prahlad Maharaj is replying. So here in this section, the Hiranyakashipu is blaming the teachers for having him taught the Krishna consciousness, but the teachers are now responding and saying, no, we did not do this. So somehow he learned this on his own, or he got it from somewhere else, but we are not the ones who are teaching him. So again, Hiranyakashipu is checking with his son, where did you learn all this nonsense? That's the way he thinks it is. So, yeah, back to you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. So they are kind of saying, hey, Baba, don't blame us. We didn't teach him. Na mat pranitam, na para pranitam. And you are thinking maybe some spy came in the Gurukul. Let me clarify that no one else came in the Gurukul also. Okay, then how come, if you didn't teach them, he didn't go outside the Gurukul, no one else came in the Gurukul, then how come this is possible? Right? Very valid question. Then the word is nesargikim. By natural, disposition, by nature he is doing that. That means he is not in a sadhaka like us. who has to be reminded, oh, chant Hare Krishna, oh, please come for Bhagavad Gita class, oh, please, don't watch nonsense TV. By natural disposition, he is not inclined towards wrong things, and he is totally absorbed in Krishna consciousness, being a pure devotee. So basically, he's not a sadhaka, he's a pure devotee. If you're a pure devotee, they don't have to be reminded to remember Krishna. Rather, they cannot forget Krishna for a moment. Nesargike, very, very nice word. We can also pray that we one day get that Nesargiki Rati, which Prahlad Maharaj had. Nesargikim Matir, natural, spontaneous, joyful attraction to Krishna. It was all attractive. And so and the Gurus clarified this whole thing, and then Prahlad Maharaj was asked, where did you get this natural inclination, rascal? Abhadra. Bhadra means good. Oh, Abhadra Matihi. How come you got this rascal like wisdom? This bad intelligence. Let's see what Prahlad says. Very, very nice verse. Someone needs to read this section.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, Sri Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, all praise to Srila Prabhupada, Jai Narasimha. Matirna Krishne Prata Swatha Va Mito Abhiphatyate Griha Vratanam Adanta Gobir Visatam Tamishram Puna Puna Charvita Charvanam. My dear father, don't be afraid. It is not a thing to be thought. Matirna Krishna. Nobody can become Krishna consciousness. Matirna Krishna Parato. Being thought by others. Matirna Krishna Paratha. Swatho Va. Or by mental speculation or thinking oneself. Mitho Abhiphatyate. Or by making conference meetings, religious meetings, conference. No, three things. One thing is to learn Krishna consciousness by speculative method, self-realization, by making conference, religious meeting, conference. No, the three things. One thing is to learn Krishna consciousness by speculative method, self-realization. Just like so many people are very much interested that why shall I go to a guru? I can realize myself. I shall mediate. So that is called swata. And prata means by others' instructions. And mitho means by assembly. So who? Now, griha vratanam. If one is a griha vrata, there are two things, grihastha and grihavrata or grihamedi. So those who are grihavrata, because he is pointing out his father's position, that is, he is grihavrata. He has no other business. He simply wants to get money. Hiranya means gold, and Kashyapa, a nice apartment. That's all. So he says that grihavratam, if one makes it his point to remain in a comfortable home life for him, either by speculation or by teaching or by meeting, he will never develop Krishna consciousness. Grihavratam. Then what is their position? Now, Adanta Gobir, Ristam Tamishram. They are unable to control their senses. And such, they are entering into a darkest region of material existence. Punah punas charvita charvanam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, 5th chapter, 30th shloka. Their only business is achieving the achieve. They have no other ways. Grihavratam, those who want to be happy mentally, actually they are achieving the achieve. Material happiness means sex life. Ultimate, want to be happy materially. Actually, they are, ultimate, almost, topmost happiness. So people are simply trying to how to utilize the sex life in so many ways, in pictures and in, I do not wish to discuss, in dancing, in club, in so many ways, because they cannot control the senses. The same thing, same sex life in different ways. Sometimes a naked dance, sometimes in this way, sometimes in that way. Therefore, it is called punas charvita charvanam. I have heard that some people go to Florida and they spend $50,000 per week for organizing naked dance. So naked woman he has seen so many times, but still he spends more money to see it in different way. That is called punas charvita charvanam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7.530. Achieving the achieved. So persons who are too much attached to sense gratification and they have made it their conclusion that we shall be happy within our family life and this social life. Vidyapati sings, Tatala Saikate Vari Bhindu Samasto Mita Ramani Sama. Our society means society, friendship, and love. There must be women, must be children. Suto Mita Ramani Samaje. So there is some pleasure, undoubtedly. You want me to continue, Prabhuji?
Let's see if someone else wants to take from here. And to share some thoughts until this point.
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah, so I think this is wonderful explanation by Srila Prabhupada. So he is telling his father that, Krishna consciousness can be taught by no one, right? I mean, we cannot just get it by speculation or anything. Even if somebody tries to come and, preach, unless he has Krishna's mercy and unless he has inclination, it cannot come, not just by speculation and all. And also Prabhupada very, very much, the achieving the achieved. That means that in this material life, people are just after material desires, sense gratification. So, they know, they would have done the same thing 100 times, but still they are unhappy. So, and Prabhupada gives a, example like how people go to faraway places, like in this case, Florida or Hawaii or wherever, and try to do more sense gratification, but they are getting into more miserable condition. So, they are trying to get juice out of a, dry, already chewed, fruit or whatever, right? So it's like a honeybee licking out of the honey, because we have all these scriptures, but they are not, they're not able to see this in Krishna consciousness. That's my understanding. Please add. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very nice. Mate na Krishne parata svatova. Mate na Krishne parata svatova. Parata means others, swata means self. They cannot take either by one's own effort, by others' effort also. Who? Those who have taken a vow. Adanta Gobhir Vishitam Tamishram. Mitho vipadyat griha vitana. Those have taken a vow, griha vrata. My home is everything. Me, my family, my life, my wealth, my job, my business. I don't want to focus on anything else. It's just me and my wife, children, my home. Expand, enjoy. Those senses are adanta. Adanta means unregulated. Then there is no hope. So either by one's own effort or by the other's effort. Therefore, sometimes we share. Not everyone is interested in Krishna consciousness, because Prahlad Maharaj is telling clearly that those who are too absorbed in the family life, those who are too absorbed in sense gratification, chewing the chewed, they'll be busy in that process only, in spending their time, energy, money, and just chewing the chewed. But there is no juice there. So until one kind of looks forward to a higher thing, one cannot really get that higher thing. Because we get what we want. If one is searching for pity, sense gratification, some lower pleasures, one will just keep searching for that throughout the life. So maybe it's a nice lecture which we can complete tomorrow, because it's almost, we're only halfway through. So I don't want to hurry either. And I don't want to kind of take one more hour either. So I think a good point would be to maybe read the other half of this tomorrow. But in a nutshell, the story we may all know. It's not that some Nrsimha will appear from some rooftop this time, or he'll appear with some other form, or he'll kill Hiranyakashipu with his punches this time. It's not the story will change. But the more we hear, the more we will relish it, the more deeper we will go. Prahlad Maharaj story, Dhruv Maharaj story, Lord Chaitanya used to hear thousands of times. And he's Supreme Lord, so we can imagine. So we should never feel, oh, I already know, okay, now Hiranyakashipu is about to come, and I know what Prahlad said, I know what Hiranyakashipu said, I know what's going to happen. Then, if we know, then we don't know anything. If the glass is always full, then there's no room to fill it or to absorb. So we should always be hungry, even though we may have heard it, but at least we should always look, okay, let's if we have that enthusiastic, eager, and inquisitive mood, then we will find a lot of new things in every class. In every Narsimha Chaturdashi, the class may be more or less similar. The pastime won't change, the words of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam won't change, but we will find newer and newer meanings and newer insights if we have that mood. So again, I wish you all a very, very happy Narsimha Chaturdashi. And we can meditate upon this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. Namaste Jasa Tejase Avir Avir Bhava Vajranakha Vajradamshra Karmashiyan Randarandya Tamograsa Grasa Om Swaha Abhayam Abhayam Atmani Bhuyishta Om Shrom. In the Yajna also they chanted this verse at least 15 times. The whole theme of the Yajna was this, because this is very, very relevant, especially in this day and age. That, oh my Lord Nrsimhadev, who are the source of all powers, you have brilliant thunderbolt like Nakha nails and Damshtra teeth. Kindly destroy my ignorance. Kindly remove all my elephantine like bad desires to enjoy material world, selfish desires to enjoy chewing the chewed. As Prabhupada gave examples also. Still, I have a lot of those desires, chewing the chewed. I think that this thing will give me happiness. It never does like that. So many people think like that. So many people convince me that it will give me happiness, but it's not like that. So kill all those bad desires, whether a sharp weapon like nails. And then give me fearlessness, give me abhayam in this world which is full of material perplexities. Please give me fearlessness. That is my only request. So you can pray that to Nrsimhadev. Okay, so we'll pause here. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Shri Narasimha Chaturdashi Mahamotsav ki jai, Shri Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai,
Yeah.
Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Thank you. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.